Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Code of Conduct Bureau filed 6-count criminal charges against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, accusing the CJN of failing to declare his assets. PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the party's national chairman condemned planned arraignment of Justice Onnoghen, accused the ruling party, the APC, of attempts to arm-twist the judiciary. Campaigns heat up as the APC and the PDP presidential candidates storm Bauchi and Plateau states to woo voters ahead of the February general elections. And at least 3 people killed in gas explosion in the French capital, Paris.
On business news tonight, federal government targets sub-100 index in World Bank ease of doing business ranking this year.
And on sports news tonight, Nigeria's CAF Confederation Cup representatives, Rangers of Enugu, ready to face Bantu FC of Lesotho in the playoff first leg.
It appears the nation's judiciary may get the wrong end of the stick, and the gavel may just be pointing towards the holder of the gavel himself, as the Code of Conduct Bureau has filed criminal charges against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen. According to a statement by the spokesperson of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, Justice Onnoghen is facing a 6-count charge bordering on false declaration of his assets. He confirmed that the charges were served on the CJN on Friday. Mr. Al-Hassan added that the charges against the CJN are based on a petition signed by the Executive Secretary of the Anti-Corruption Research Data-Based Initiative, that is Sagay. The petition alleges, amongst other things, that the CJN failed to declare ownership of sundry accounts funded through cash deposits made by himself up to August the 10th, 2016. The 6 counts are as follows: that between 2005 to December 2016, Mr. Onnoghen, as a Supreme Court judge, failed to declare and submit a written declaration of all assets and liabilities within the prescribed period after being sworn in as the Justice of the Supreme Court. Count 2 alleges that the CJN failed to declare a domiciliary dollar account which he maintained and operated with a commercial bank in Abuja since 2011. In Count 3, he's accused of to have falsely declared his assets in Form CCB1 after he was sworn in as Justice of the Supreme Court by omitting to declare a domiciliary euro account maintained in a commercial bank. Count 4 also alleges that the CJN failed to declare his domiciliary pounds account operated and maintained with the same commercial bank in Abuja. Count 5 alleges that the CJN, after being sworn in to office, omitted an e-savings Naira account maintained with a commercial bank in Abuja. While Count 6 alleges that as a public officer, the CJN, who is under a duty to declare his assets to the CCB on or before or about 14th of December 2016, made a false declaration of assets for his Form CCB1 after he was sworn in. All offences are set to contravene the provisions of Sections 15, subsections 2 of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act of 2004. According to the CCT, Justice Onnoghen will be arraigned on Monday, January the 14th, 2019. But the presidential candidate of the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is worried about the allegations against the Chief Justice of Nigeria. He says that he received the news with apprehension and suspicion, especially as the move is coming close to the general elections. He said in a statement, quote, "I stand on the side of the rule of law and believe that the person is innocent until proven guilty. If Justice Walter Onnoghen is guilty of the charges about to be preferred against him, let his guilt be determined by a competent court of law and not by the Buhari administration. The executive cannot usurp the role of the judiciary. Nigeria is still a democracy and not a fascist dictatorship, as President Muhammadu Buhari may wish." End of quote. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party presidential campaign is accusing the federal government of attempting to destroy the judiciary. The national chairman of the party, Prince Uche Secondos, describes the allegations leveled against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onagen, as an attempt to silence the judiciary.
We will sit down with leaders of all the communities in Plateau State, with all the religious groups in Plateau State, and make sure that we restore peace and unity in Plateau State, so that Plateau State will continue to be known for the economic. They started with the politicians, and they went and moved onto the legislature. In fact, you are aware that there was a coup d'etat at the Legislative National Assembly. That one failed. Now their target is to destroy the judiciary, the last hope of the common man. I want to tell you, you must rise to this occasion to resist Buhari and APC, because they have destroyed the economy. No food on our table. There is hunger on the land.
Reactions are already trickling and trailing the concerning, of course, the allegations against the Chief Justice of Nigeria. One of the first sets of reactions is coming from the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Sagay, who believes that the prosecution of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onagen, shows that no one is above the law. Professor Sagay says that although the prosecution of the CJN was saddening, it showed that Nigeria was slowly becoming a nation of laws. He insists that the arraignment shows that in Nigeria, nobody is above the law.
For me, this is a major development which establishes the fact that Nigeria is operating the rule of law at the highest level. Because the rule of law has very many answers. One of them is that the law reigns supreme over any action in the country, and secondly, that nobody is above the law. Now, if such an action is being brought against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who is head of an arm of government, it means that the rule of law in Nigeria knows no limit. And it's a positive commendation for our level of democratic development. Not that I am pleased or that I'm taking pleasure in it. I'm looking at it objectively and broadly. What impact does it have? It means it has a very positive impact on our standing as an operator of the rule of law. The matter is going to come before the tribunal. When it does come, the prosecution will be compelled to prove the charge beyond reasonable doubt. So the thing will play out completely. So there's no use injecting sentiments and all these petty, narrow-minded political sentiments into it.
In the meantime, the South-South Governors Forum has scheduled an emergency meeting of the forum for tomorrow, Sunday, January the 12th. A statement by the Special Advisor, Media Relations to the Governor of Bayelsa State, Mr. Fidelis Sorowe, says that the security of the Niger Delta during and after the elections, the issue of derivation and recent developments involving the Chief Justice of the Federation would feature for deliberations at the meeting. Governor Dixon said that the South-South governors will address the press conference after the meeting to convey the position of the zone to the Nigerian public. Governor Dixon also explained that all efforts must be on deck to prevent the subversion and desecration of the ethos of democracy in Nigeria as nations move nearer to the elections. We're not yet done with the reactions of the allegations against the Chief Justice of Nigeria by the Code of Conduct Bureau. Let's get more perspectives from a senior advocate of Nigeria, Paul Ananaba. He joins us from our Abuja studios. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming to us at this time. Let me get your thoughts. When you heard this, what was your immediate reactions, the allegations against the CJN, and particularly the trial, which is expected to begin on Monday?
Well, the first is that it comes as a concern and a shock. If you realize that the CJN is not just a judicial officer, but the head of the judiciary. We didn't hear much about any antecedent of this. And if what the charges as you put up and as we've seen in the social media is correct, that the petition was written on the 7th and that it was received by the Code of Conduct on the 9th, and by the 10th there's a charge. Then it gives a bit worry to people like people of legal minds. Well, what are we talking about? The issue is not about, as I heard a brother speak a few minutes ago, whether there is rule of law or not. This question is, we have passed through this road before. The judgment of the Court of Appeal in Justice Ngajiwa's case is very clear, that a serving judicial officer cannot be prosecuted in this manner. The Constitution provides for what should be done for in the event a judicial officer is erring. And the position is that the matter should be reported to NJC, and then NJC will make appropriate recommendations and all that. And then prosecution, investigation by agencies can take place. So the further worry about it is that we are very close to very vital elections. And one of those elections will be presidential election. And the CJN is the CJN that has the powers to oversee and appoint panels and all that for in the event there's a presidential election petition. So you asked me what were my reactions. All these came to my mind, and I was a bit worried that that is happening now. So what I'm saying is that the timing, the due process by the Constitution, and one of the early elementary principles of law is that it is what the courts say that is the law, not just what the legislator had done by way of acts of parliament or laws that is the law. It is the interpretation given to those laws that is the law. And that interpretation will be done by the judiciary. And in this instance, the Court of Appeal decision on Justice Nganjiwa is very clear. I think that some degree of rethink should be done on this, so that nobody's above the law. There's no immunity.
If you allow me to interject, just so I can get some more questions across to you. The chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee, Professor Issa Sagay, said that no one is above the law, really, even though there is this is just...
I agree.
These are just charges that have been read to the CJN. He says that no one is above the law. Shouldn't the Code of Conduct Bureau, Tribunal, or the Bureau itself, still carry on with its work?
No, I'm not saying they shouldn't carry on with their work. But we are talking about the Chief Justice of the Federation. That's the point I'm making. And I'm saying that if this was done before the Court of Appeal decision in Justice Nganjiwa's case, then it can be understood. But if the law as of today is that a judicial officer, not even the CJN, any judicial officer you want to prosecute, you will have to report that judicial officer first to NJC. That is the position of our Constitution as interpreted in Justice Nganjiwa's case. If that is the case, I will believe that my brother Professor Sagay will look at that position of the law, that judicial interpretation. Now, rule of law is rule of law according to the law and constitution of the country. And as it is today, that is how a judicial officer can be prosecuted or proceeded against. And in Justice Ngajiwa's case, the Court of Appeal said that it is that position is the glory and cover of the judicial officer, so that people who are frivolous or unserious-minded will not heap all kinds of charges against judges. And remember, there is need for the independence of the judiciary, for both the elections to be sacrosanct, and for the fight against corruption.
That will be a good
what I'm
place
saying
to let it rest.
is that
my apologies.
nobody's above the law.
My apologies. I'm afraid that that's where we're going to have to let it rest. And as I believe, we will still have another forum to discuss further on this. But I must thank you indeed, Paul Ananaba, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for sharing your thoughts with us on these very contentious issues that we're seeing concerning the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onnoghen. In part 2, after the break, more on the campaigns as PDP and APGA governorship candidates in Oyo and Abia State continue to woo voters ahead of the 2019 polls. Please stay with us.